Oh, afternoon,
So it's
sir.
basically like understanding the world. I really, really
Okay, so now I want us to create okay, sorry. Okay, sorry about that, guys. They're busy here. Okay, so I just want to create like a simple looking form. That's what I want to do. I want to create like a simple looking form. And then the whole point that I want to do is for us to use JavaScript to show validation. Like how do we use JavaScript for us to show validation and things like that. So that is what I just want to do. Like something quite simple, something that doesn't require a lot of what you call like a lot of crazy techniques and things like that. So let's start there, and then we'll be making use of JavaScript as we go. So we'll be explaining some of these things as we go, then so that you can understand like what we're doing. So straight to the point here. Okay, before I go forward, do you have any questions, any queries, any complaints from your guys' sides?
So far, so good, sir.
Okay, I see a hand from Tsepo and I mean from Matome and Shelly. Okay, I'll start with Shelly and then Matome.
Good afternoon, sir.
Uh, Hi Shelly, how are you?
I'm okay, and how are you?
I'm good.
So there was an issue that was raised by Miss Mavis on the group regarding time. So may we
Yeah.
please confirm what time class starts because yes, schools were
Uh,
closed, so it was at 1. So right now we don't know if it's 2 o'clock or 2:30. So may you please just
no,
confirm for us.
class starts at 2. You guys have to log in at 2, and then for me on my side here, and then I will only join between 1/4 and 2:30. So, but you guys have to be logged in at 2 o'clock, so that if ever there is any communication from extensive side, then they can address you guys. Hence, you have to be logged in by 2 on the dot. And then myself, as I was saying, and then I'll start with you guys around 2:15. That's when I start between 2:15 and 2:30. Like today, so that these are the times that I usually come in because I'll just be finishing something up here. So you guys are in at 2 o'clock, and then my class um, starts at 2:15.
Okay. Thank you very much for the clarification.
Okay,
Thanks.
all right. Matome?
Sir, good afternoon,
Yes, sir.
sir.
How's it
How
going?
are you?
I'm good, man.
So I wanted to ask if it is possible to start from scratch. Like, can you start creating an HTML document, then link it with a JavaScript document?
Or come again? You say start from fresh in.
Start afresh. I just wanted to see how you link an external file to
Okay. Okay. No. That's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to start from down, but I am not going to design like an entire website for instance, but I'm going to start with HTML, and then I'll do CSS, and then I'll do JavaScript.
Okay.
Yeah, so that I can show how it links, even including even the folders and stuff. If I need to create those folders, then we're going to do that.
Okay.
All right, sharp.
Sir?
Oh, yes.
There's this question, non-formative. It says you must draw those and all the stuff from this chapter that you are doing now. Like, how do you draw that on a laptop? That's my concern.
Come again?
There's this question on a formative, ne?
Oh, that says we should draw the logical diagrams.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, Wanga asked that question last time, and then I put a link on the chat here as to what site that you can use for you to, because usually Microsoft Word doesn't have a place or doesn't have the tools that allow you to draw those kind of diagrams. So, and then I said that you can go online and look their sites that will allow you to actually go in and use their tools to draw something. And then you can do that. You can draw those logical diagrams using those sites, and then you can just copy, or you can do a screenshot and then go and paste on your website.
All right, I probably missed that.
Okay, so just look for those sites there. Just say a site, just even on Google there, you can just type site to draw logical diagrams. You will find there's a lot.
All right.
Yeah. So if you have any problem, then if you face any problem, you have my number, then you can ask me, and then I can send you a site. Okay. All right, so I'm going to share my entire screen again today. So that's what I'm going to do, and starting up here. So notice here, I've got a whole HTML document that I have that you guys are used to. So let me do this blank. Which is English. There's nothing here. There's nothing. It's not anything new here. This is basically the same stuff that we've been doing all this time. So now let me push my head over to this side. This time I just want to push the head this side. And then the meta, I'm going to do this. And then remember the metas. We've been using these metas since. Then another meta here, this one here. Okay, it's just gonna be the compatibility. So I just want to make it compatible. I explained this before. So I'll just run through some of these things because we have done them. But if you have any question, you're free to stop. So as much as notice that I do not have access to your screen on the other side. So since I don't have access to your screen, so if you have any question, please just shout. Okay, so I said that if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Just shout. Ne? Just say your name first, and then I'll pick up your question. Yeah, I hope you guys are following me. But like here, what we're simply doing is we're not doing something that is different because it's just the same thing. Remember here, we're dealing with a device width of the device that you're on. So it's a viewport, and then the content should fit the device, the width of the device that you're working with there. That's what we're simply saying here. Okay, instead of this here, initial. Oh, okay. So here we dealing with this part. So, and then we're done with this. Okay, so guys, I'll be like not be saying much because I'm just dealing with a little bit of noise here. So don't mind my quietness. But as I said, you have any question, you can stop me at any time. Just ask me like what exactly are you doing there so that I can explain.
Oh, so you have already created the CSS file.
Sorry?
You have already created the CSS file.
No, not yet. Not yet. I'm just writing my script code for now, and then I'm going to create the files. So now let me create those files here. Open to create a file. Okay, I'm going to create the file. Okay, where am I? Where am I? Okay, I'm just have to change this here, the folder. So I'm going to create it. I'm just trying to look for a place where to create where I can easily access. Let me create under music folder here, and then okay, so I'll call it Java script. Okay, and then inside here, I'm going to create two files. I'm going to create two files. Okay, I don't need to create because I didn't put these two in a file here. I didn't put these two, I just dropped them. Okay, so let me not create files. Let me just do this. Let me just drop those two. So, okay, I've got a folder where I created like my stuff. And then, so this is what I'm gonna do. I'm going to save this into that particular folder there. So save as into that folder that I just created here, JavaScript. And then I will call this here index. I'll call it index.html. This is the one. And then this one here, let me delete. Okay, let me just leave it the way it is. And then script.js, because I think this one is script.js, yes. So script.js also I'll do the same, save as, and then save it in that particular place. Not here. Where is my music? Yeah, and then I have JavaScript, and then this is where I'm saving my script.js. Then I'm also going to open a new file here where I'm going to deal with my CSS. Then this one I'll save as, and then I think I called it style. So it to style, and then from there, and then it's .css there, and then JavaScript there in that folder. So now I've got my 3 files that I need. So I'm going to delete this part of JavaScript here. Then I'm going to just leave the comment. I'm going to alter it a bit. And then, yep. So now I think I have got, notice I have this, I have that. So these things are now sorted. They are now sorted. So yeah, I think we sorted now in this manner in terms of the files and things like that. We sorted. So now I want to create the form. So now for me to create the form, and then I'll just have to, come up with a simple, stupid form. It's not going to be something hectic, just going to be something stupid, something in the middle of a page. We'll just maybe call it a registration form, for instance, and then we'll see what you do afterwards in that particular form there. So like we're just going to have a couple of records in our form that you are going to put in. So in that form there, let me do this. I'm thinking here. So here's the head, and then there's our body, and then inside the body, this is where I'm going to code. I'm coding inside the body, and then in the body here, I'm going to create a div class. You guys know what div is. I'm going to create a div class, and I'll call it simple, because this is what we usually do. Just call it a container, because it is going to be containing everything that we need. And then it is something that you'll be using a lot. Most of the times whenever you're dealing with data, you'll be dealing with it in a container. I'm trying to see here, there's something up. There's something up here. Okay, I see, because I was wondering here. There we go. Because I was wondering, like, why is it everything that doing that? Like, it wasn't making sense because I forgot that thing there. Okay, so now div class, which is a container. Then inside this particular container, I am going to create a form. So I have to create that form there, form. Now our form here is going to have everything that we need. Our form is going to have everything that you actually need. And so which means we have to write the particular form there, because it's just going to be a basic form. So there is a lot though of lines of code that we have to write. So which means I'll be explaining as we go, and the using the JavaScript. JavaScript is the epitome. This is where we want to go. So I'll be explaining though as I go. Okay. Right, so form. So we're creating that form there. So the form, I'm going to give it an ID, obviously, because it's a form. It has to have a name. Then the ID is what form? Like that. And then, so now this principle that we're doing here is basically they're going to be the same for all the types of forms that you work with. It's going to be the same. It just takes a few things here and there that you might need to neglect or you might need to add, but most of the times, almost everything is going to be the same. So now, what I'm just giving it is a header here, which is my H1. Is the header at the top of the form. So now, if we can run this, okay, let me just save this first, and then I'll come here and I run this. So it's not going to be something fancy. This is what you have. Notice, just registration. That is something, it's not something fancy. That is what we have so far. So we'll be running it as we go, and then we check as we go, and then we check whatever happens to it. But anyway, like since we have done this, I don't think we really need to dive a lot, especially into how the website looks now, because what we're interested in is equals to, so we need a class where now we're going to write our input control. So we need our input control here, and then our input control, we need certain levels. We'll be entering things, and then I'll show you something from there. So, so what is the input control for? So now, want to, like when you talk about input control in a form, we're talking about what are we going to use to put something. So the first thing that we have is, if you're dealing with a login form, for instance, you've got let me see if I have something here that I can show. Login form. Let me use this ChatGPT thingy. Okay, do I have? Lookout. I want to show you just this, the login, so I can explain something. Oh, okay. I could have used this. Internet is kind of slow. I don't know why it's acting up. Okay, I think ChatGPT is done. Okay, if I say login here, it's simple, but it's so nice. This is all JavaScript, by the way, guys. This is all JavaScript. JavaScript at work. Notice here, you've got given something like this. Then you've got says email address. So this here is a label. You've got a label that you have, and then you've got sort of a box that you're going to be using for you to write whatever that is being written there. Like for instance, when they say email address, so you have to write your email address there. Let me see. Okay, this one is refusing to open for now. But basically, that is how these things work. So you're supposed to have a label, and you're supposed to have a control item there. So that is what we have essentially. So now a label, and where you put in your information. So now coming back here, so we've got that input control. So input control, so we need a label. That is the first thing that we need. So a label, and then for. So now we want a label for something. Then what is that for? We want a label for, let's say, a username. Yeah, let me call it a username. Then we're going to use, because this is a registration form, operates a little bit different from a login form. Username, and then we're going to give it oh, what did I say? User email, user name. some that, and then that username here, and then it's going to be given that. This here is the one that actually shows outside that username. And then from there, then I'm done. Then I can close that particular label there. Label. And then label. And then from there, then now I need an input. Isn't I've got the label? Now I need an input. So hence I have to tell it input. I want to put an input there. I want to put an input, and then that input is going to have an ID because it's an input. So the ID for our input is going to be the same username. That is the ID for our input, and then we're going to give it a name, and then the name is going to be the same. Okay, sorry. The name is going to be the same, which is username. And then what type of an input is that? The type of an input that you want to use. There are different types of inputs. This one, we want it to be a text item that accepts text. There are others that like a checkboxes and things like that. And then, yeah, and then I think we're done. And now we need something that is going to capture errors. So then, for instance, isn't we said that we want to also validate. So if you want to do validation, so that is what we also need to do. We also need to enter that to add in that information about the validation there. We also need to add that information about validation. But we're almost done. We're almost done with the form. So I'll just show you as soon as we're done here. So now div, okay, class. This here is a class that handles all the errors because we need to validate. So validating is checking if the information that you're putting is correct or not. So, so we're going to have this capture, which is going to capture all the errors there. And then I'm closing my div that I have opened here. I'm closing it. And then I need to close that other div. This div here. Sorry. I need to close that particular div that we have. So we're done with this part. So now, since we are done with this part, this is the first part of it. So let me save and show you what we have. So come here and then run. Notice here, username with a funny box where you can literally write in that particular box there. That is whatever that you want, you can delete whatever that you want. That is our username. That is the username item there. We are going to make it look a little bit nicer for now. It's looking kind of stupid, but yeah, this is what we have. So let's continue. So from here now, I'm going to copy this. Copy. And from there, I am going to paste it here. And then I am going to paste it here because I need to enter a few things. So we've got the input control with a username. So now we want a username, and then you also want a password. And like usually with most forms, isn't you've got password 1, password 2, especially with login forms. So this one, since it's a registration form, so it's basically the same. Login, because I have a reason why I'm making a registration, because a login form is something a little bit different. It has to go and capture information maybe from a database, but we're going to look at that sometime later. For now, we're dealing with this. So now notice here, I just copied my code twice. So input control is still the same. And then here, now I want, let's say, the user to write their email. So email, and then here, I'll come and also tell them to write an email. And then the ID for the input. Okay, let me just copy. ID for the input is also going to be email. The name is also going to be email, and then it's also text. And then the error is going to capture the error, and then here still the same, and then here I'm saying I want them to write a password, and then I'm going to change this to the password, and then I'm going to copy this here, and then I'm going to write this, then I'm going to capture that. And password is done. Then the type here. But now with the password, there is a certain aspect to it. We cannot use text, but we're going to use a password one. Notice here, the type of an input is text, type of an input is text, but for password, the type of an input for password, you're going to use a type of input called password. That is the one that you're going to use. And then I'm going to copy because I want to confirm the password. I want the password to be confirmed. So I'm doing that. So now type for password, but now this is the second password. Ne? So let me call it conf. Oh, it becomes too long, isn't it? Okay, let me cut it down to conf pass. Conf pass. And then here I'll say confirm password, and then I'm going to copy that. Conf pass is going to be the same here, and then this here is going to be the same because the conf pass, but the type is still password. I didn't do anything, and then you are done with this div. And then from there, now I need to enter the button that I need for me to register, isn't it? So then I'm going to have to introduce that button there, button. And then the type. The type is equals to, let's submit. Submit. So this is a button that you're using to submit, and then I'll say register. I want the person to be able to register. Okay, this I want it to be able to register, and then I'm going to close my button. Now we're done with our form. Okay, I need to close the form, isn't it? So so I need to close the form. Yeah, I need to close the form first, and then form, because I opened the form, I need to close it, and then I also need to close the div. I think we're done. Here we go. So now if I run save and then I run this, this is what we have. There isn't much structure here in this thing that we're doing so far. Notice here it's just however that it looks, there isn't much structure there. So this is how it actually looks there. We've got our form that is there, that is done. No CSS, nothing. So hence now we need to write the CSS code to make our form look nice. So that's we need to work on that. So our CSS code is going to be a bit more. So let's work on our CSS code now. So now our CSS code, there is a styling code there. Let me just check if the name is proper, style.css. Okay. So it looks like style.css. It's fine. So then now to write the code, first thing that you always start with is a body. Then I'll just write a small comment. I love putting comments in code because it makes code look kind of neat and organized if I put like that. So you can even do this here. You're allowed even to put some breaking right, and then you say maybe author. And then date, and then put today's date, which is 21 July 2023. And like that, you're allowed to do whatever that you want. You can also even do this for your index page. You can also do that for your index page. Okay, I have to put it outside. So regardless of whatever that you wanna do, you can do that. Oh, but anyway, here it's actually it's like this. This is how you write comments on HTML. HTML, the comments are written like that. This is how we write comments on HTML. So it's a little bit different. You notice that JavaScript and CSS, they've got a different commenting style compared to your CSS there. So now with your CSS here, now we need to write code. We say that we're going to write code for the body first. So the code for the body is the one that comes first there. So we want a certain background. We want to give it a certain color. I don't know what color we can give our background to. I don't know what color we can give our background to. Okay, just wait. Here, now I was saying that like we need to put some kind of a background. So now what background would I put? Trying to think. Okay, let me do this. Let me do this. Okay, there's something here that I missed out here. Real. And then it has to be what style sheet. Something like that. Wow. Okay. Sharp. I think so. So yeah, background here, because here I'm gonna deal with, okay, I'll come back to this. Let me deal with the font family. So the font that I'm going to use, I only two already. You notice that I imported a font there called Poppins. So I'm going to use that font for that font there. Poppins. I'm going to use my Poppins there, and I'm also going to use Sans. Sans. I'm also going to use Sans there, and then we're done here. Okay, let me just try something new. Linear gradient. Linear gradient. Linear gradient, and then right, then comma, and then I'm going to have a bunch of colors there. Colors, what colors? It's a bunch of colors. The linear gradient is just telling your colors to change as you go. You see that I said linear gradient to the right. So instead of having one solid color, you're just going to have a color that progresses as you go towards the right. So it can be from lighter to darker towards the right, or it can be darker and lighter towards the left, or you can simply change mixing those colors together. That is what I'm simply doing there. 203 43. I think. And then we have to mix. Start to see what color. 3, 4. Use this as in a student project before. Okay, Now, then from there, now I need to work with a form. I need to work with a form here. Let me say, form. I'll need to work with a form there, and then so with a form, I'll fix if ever something wrong there. Then with a form, I need it to have a certain width, obviously. So the form, I'm going to have a width of 300 pixels, which is like something quite small and not too big. And then I'm going to have a margin of the form. So the margin of the form, I'm going to have 20 VH, which is basically the vertical height there. And then it's supposed to be auto, so that it can change also to the left or right. It can change then 0 in terms of the width part, and then auto also, so that you can allow it to maneuver around. So these are basically snap. Yeah, there we go. So and then from there, and then I'm gonna have a padding of the form. You guys still remember what padding is, right? 20px. You guys remember what padding is? What is padding? What is padding, guys? Guys, hello. What is padding? What is padding, guys?
So it is the space between the content or the
It's the space
borders
between
of the
content
elements.
in relation to.
For instance, you saw when you wrote those emails, name something something, that
Yeah.
list you made. Padding is the space between those elements.
Okay, perfect. So it is the space between like the border and the space between the elements. Let's see if the styling works there. My styling is not working at all. Okay. Okay. Anyway, we haven't even done anything so far, so I wouldn't expect it to do much. So, but I'm supposed to have some of this thing. But anyway, we haven't done anything. Let me see if I can do this. Still basically the same thing. The hell. Okay. Index. If I instead of using that, straight. Okay, but anyway, still doing what it's supposed to do. So now let me finish up my thingy. It's a bit too mature for me to do anything anyway. So now let me work with the heading. Let me see if now we're gonna have any change there. So hash still the same as the dot there. Form h1. Now we're working with the h1 part there of our form. So like that, and then from there, I'm just going to change the color of the header, or that heading h1 there. I'm going to change it to a certain color. Let me say h0 colors that we already have. That's one that you work with there, and I'm going to align the text align, and then I'm going to say center. And done with this part there. Let's see. Does it do our work? Okay. I think something up with my styling, but we'll deal with it as we go. And then from there, then let me try to edit the button. Form button. Open close the button there, and then we're gonna have a padding. of 10px, obviously. It's a button here. And then we're also gonna have a margin top there of 10 pixels also as well. Make it kind of squarish. And then we're gonna have a width. Width is going to be the same size as the text that is written in it. So that's just gonna make it 100% because I want it to be the same size as the text that is written in it. The color, obviously, and then let's make it white. Yeah. And then we can have a background color of our button there, and then let's just experiment. RGB, which is red, green, and blue. So I'm just gonna play around with figures. 41, like that, and like that. Okay. Now this is here is to show you that there's different ways that we can literally write our hello. I'm back. Yeah. So now I was saying that here I'm just playing around with different elements, like in terms of colors. I'm just showing you that there's so many different ways in how you can put color. Notice before we were just writing, for instance, a code like that for the color, for the background color, or we sometimes using a picture for the background. Sometimes you can, so, and then from there, and then notice here I used something called a gradient. Oh, wow, I didn't even close that. So I'm supposed to close it. So here there is a gradient that we used for us to do that. And then from there, and then there's this aspect here of just using a normal solid color. And then there's also this aspect here of using RGB. So RGB is basically the same as using this. But here now you are specifying how much of the red, how much of the green, and how much of the black you want. So in that pattern, so this pattern here, notice it is more black than red and green. So it's just a combination of red, green, and black, and then diluting there, but you're doing it on in a way that you like. So notice here, like this here, oh, actually not black, this is blue, yeah, red, green, and blue. So which means we've got more blue than green and red. Even though there is an element of red, there's an element of green in it, but it's a bit, less in terms of that. So that is what we are simply dealing with there. So, and then I do not want a border on this. I want a border, so border none. And then I also want a certain radius. So radius, I want this to have certain radius. Like remember radius as the corners. So excuse me. And then now from there, let's work with the input controls. So with the input controls, there are certain aspects that we need to do with the input controls. So with the input controls, we're going to be using the normal dot. Remember, input control, control, and then like that, and then want to display. Okay, sorry, I put it a little bit down. So want to display here. So display. Obviously, we want, like input controls, want our input controls to be displayed in a very nice way. So obviously, the best way for us to do that is to flex the design, which is to spread it a little bit, and then flex direction. The flex direction here is going to be in column form. And then from there, I think, yeah, we're done here. And then you're also going to have input. Okay, let me just copy. Okay, copy, paste. Now I'm not just working with this. Now I'm working with the input itself. Because remember, there's input control. Let's go back to our code there. And notice here, there is the container, and then there's input control. And then inside input control, then there is input. There is input there. So now we're working on that input. So that is what we're working on now. So now let's work on that. And then you still have to do the container sometime later, but yeah. So there we go. So input control. Now with input control, the input element there, you want it to be formatted in a certain way, and then you want to have, like, say, a border there of the input control. Let's put a border of 2 pixels. We don't want to be too round. And then want it to have a color. So you want it to be solid, to have a round box there. You see that when you say border, 2 pixels solid. So you want a border that is 2 pixels thin. You want it to be solid nyana, and then from there also want to give it a certain color, of which obviously the color that may always make sense. And then we've got a border radius. Border radius. And then you also want a border radius of 4px. As I said, not too round, but proper. Then display of these items there is supposed to be in a block. And then also want a font size that is for writing the items that we have there. And then font size that is always reasonable is 12px. That is the font that you use for typing. Then there says to be a padding here. A padding that we need is 10. And then we're going to have the width. And the width here is going to be obviously 100%. 100% of the given parameters. So, and then we're done with the input control there. And then now let's work with like, do you need a focus and stuff? Okay. Remember, we're dealing with errors. So if, let's say, something doesn't suit the stuff that needs to be put in, then what are they, so like, what are you supposed to do? How are you supposed to work around that? So, and then we're going to have that, we're going to have to write that code there. So again, I'll do that. And then input the focus is that thing there that shows you if your content that you have, like when you move your mouse and then you notice this thing here, this thing that's looking, that's like doing that, that disappears and comes back. That is basically the focus. So we need the outline there to be 0, so that it is not clearly visible, but it's there. And then now validation, as I said, and then now for validation here, dot success, we are saying that if ever it's successful, whatever that you're writing, and then it's supposed to have a certain color. So let me say input. So we're telling it that if our input is successful, then this is what we're going to do for the color. So the color of the border has to change. The color of the border has to change to a certain color, which is something that looks greenish. So greenish usually is represented by something around this 0.9 usually. Yeah. And then I'm going to copy this whole thing here. Now, if let's say we have an error, this is a success. So an error, we need it also to have a certain color which is almost on the reddish side. FF, and then we've got numbers there. Yeah, and then from there, so you notice that this last here is just to design with the box, just in case something is happening. So then the error, let's say you want something to be written there in terms of the error there. So let me just copy and paste that. And instead of having to remove the dot there, and now this here deals with the error. Same, so that if the words, they'll be reflected in red, simple like that. So that's what we want. And then the font size, the font size of that is going to be 9px, and then the height is going to be 18. So I think so far so good. I think so far so good. I don't think we have an issue now. Let's just see if our code does what it's told to do. This is our CSS here. This case here. Now, okay. Yeah, we have an issue here. Our code is not doing what it's supposed to do. So it seems like it's not linking to our CSS there. Problem solving now. So now we need to go to our problem solving. So how then do we fix that? Okay, so this is what we have, the body and stuff like that. And then here, and then we have that. Because I think my issue should be here in the styling, style.css. Then link href there, which is fine. Okay, that is fine there. Oh, there we go. We've got a nice looking form now. So I was trying to fix that issue there that had to do with my code. Notice my boxes here are eloping, like they are flowing over. I need to fix that part there as to why my boxes are flowing over. So the width of the form, let me increase that width of the form, let's say to 350 pixels. So I think at 350 pixels, the width of the form is going to be fine. And then save here. Now, let me run. Let me see. No, okay. Oh, all right. I can put it back. Oh man. Where's that? The input. The width. Okay, 75%. 75%. Okay, let's see. Okay, there we go. 75% is also ridiculous. Notice here, I don't like this. I don't like, but it's supposed to be 100%. The same way with the button there, and then it's not doing the most. Let me see my button. What's the width of the button here that I have? I think I put it at 100%. The button. Let's say I see it with 100%. Okay, let me just change that width of the input to maybe a 90%. Let's hope it's just gonna fill it up towards the end, because trial by error there, and then do that. Okay, I think it's almost more like it. Then I can even put it a little bit, maybe to a touch to the right, and maybe put it in the 93% or 94, 93 or 94% there. So let me change it to a 93%. I think that width there is gonna work. Trial by error. Okay, there we go. I think I like how it is. Notice I can literally fill in this thing here. Notice that. See, notice this thing. This is the focus that I was talking about. So every time, whenever you put a focus, this is what you get. Notice that. That's the focus. That's what you're talking about. So now we can have a form literally, and then put the password there, and then I can put a password. Let's say my password here is going to be same as my username, dust, right? And then I can click here. You can see, can click there, disappears. Also, dust, might. See that? You can click here, and then you can either see or disappears there. So there's a password there that you have. You click on register, boom, there we go. It opens stuff. It opens stuff. But here, what is simple did just opened my hard drive. That's why I see contents of C. It just opened my hard drive, so I can literally browse through my entire hard drive from this place here, and I can see literally what I have in my hard drive there, and then users there, and then I can go and check in my users files, and then this is the stuff where I am. This is where I'm keeping everything that I have. So, but anyway, this is not the focus. The focus is the form, this form that we have. So now this in JavaScript here written. This is basically CSS and HTML. So our form is not behaving. Like we haven't told the form to do anything. So now we've just got a nice looking form here that has got a background there that is nice. And then you've got a form that has got a certain container that we have. This is what we have. We don't have anything fancy. So this is just a basic form. What do you think, guys? Are you following? Is it making sense for now? Does it look promising? Does it look nice?
I think I'm following Mr. TC on my side.
Okay. All right. So
Interesting.
it's interesting.
Yeah, it's that thing. I wish I could just do it now. So,
Yeah, you can learn it now. Don't worry. You get there, my man. You get there. So now comes the tricky part. JavaScript. Now, when it comes to JavaScript now, what we need to do now is to make this form behave. Because right now, as I said, that a form doesn't have any functionality. It's simple as stupid form. It is what it is. It's just a form. So now, how then do we use JavaScript to make this form respond? Hence, I've been talking about this all this time. Responsive programming. Now, what do you mean by responsive programming? Responsive programming simply means that we want our website or the app that you have designed. For instance, this here looks like a login form for an app. Most of the times, whenever you have got those web apps that you have, and then this looks like a login form for that web app. So now, if we have a login form for a web app that looks like this, how then do we make it respond? How do you make it respond? How is it supposed to respond to my commands? So when I press register here, it's supposed to capture all that information. It's supposed to check if this password that I wrote here and that password that is confirmed here are the same. How do I know that? How is it supposed to know that it's supposed to store a username, supposed to store an email, supposed to store a password, and check if these two passwords here, they're similar, and to check if the email that you wrote here is a valid email address. So that there is the job of JavaScript. So hence we're moving over to the JavaScript part. Now the JavaScript part, this is the tricky part. So now to add functionality, let me say responsiveness. Add responsiveness to that particular website. Actually, I don't even need to do this because I'm writing in one line. I can simply do write a comment like that. Anyway, so now there are certain things that we need to do. So because it's JavaScript, we need to capture certain things. So we need to capture these variables there. And these variables that I'm going to capture them as constants because they are constants. So now there's a difference between the term var and const. So var, and then there's also something called const. These two, they basically mean the same thing. They are to represent values. And then this one here is a changing variable. At least this one underneath here is a non-changing variable. A non-changing variable. So for instance, like let's say you are dealing with something like a calculator and stuff. With the calculator, you will need what they call a var. But now, whenever you're dealing with email addresses, information of people, that doesn't change. Once a person puts that information and you don't expect them to change it at any time soon, then you're going to use it as a const. So hence, that's what we do. So now, in this const, you want to capture certain things. In this form, I mean, you want to capture certain things. The first thing that you want to do is to capture the form itself, and then you want to capture the email address, the username, the password, and the confirmed password. So those are the things that you want to capture. So hence, this is the very first thing that we need to do. We need to declare those variables because we need to call them time and time again. We need to call them time and time again. Then how then do we do that? Hence, this is how we do it. So now, const, this is where we start, and then we have a form first and foremost, and then remember equals to document dot. Now dot what? Like remember, if you wanted to show something, we say dot something yesterday, and then now here what we want to do is our form that we have here. We want so that when I come and write Dasmite, my gaming name, when I write Dasmite like that, the moment that I press register here, I want it to capture this name. I want it to capture my email address. I want it to capture my password. I want it to capture the confirmed password and check if all of these things are going to correspond and they're going to be saved on the database. Then how then do I do that? So hence for me to do all this stuff here, I need to get them. I need to capture them. And how then do I capture them? JavaScript comes in and JavaScript captures that. And then how does it capture it? It's basically same as Java. Java also has the same sequence. So you say get that, element. Now it's a little bit different by Java. Notice it gives you classes there, but now we want to get element by ID because we're using the IDs. Because if you go back to your HTML, we're giving ID names. You notice that there's an ID here, there's an ID for all of these things. Even the form also has an ID there. So everything that we are using, because we declare them as ID, so we need to capture them as using their IDs, the names that are given there. So hence now we come here, get what by ID, and the inside here, the first thing that we have is that form. That is the first thing that we want to. And then from there, I'm simply going to copy this and paste it 5 times. I'm sorry, like this, number 4. That. And then now, that was the form first. The second thing is the username. The thing is the email. Fourth thing is the password. And then the last thing is the conf password. I think that's the name there. Let me see. The conf password, right? Yeah, conf pass. And then, yeah, so and then password, then email, then username. Yep, makes sense. And then let me go back here, and then which means same applies here. I'm just going to copy this in here because it has to correspond. If it's not the same, then you're gonna get an error later. You're writing the code. So now this guys is called coding. Now we are actually coding now. And then there we go. Done. So we've captured everything that we needed to capture. So we have the name, the email, the password, everything that we have kept, we've gotten to capture there. So we have got our variables that we need. So now, next up here, we need to check certain things. So the first thing that we need to check, we need to add what they call like we need to tell the button now to work. That is what we need to do. We need to tell the button to work. So now the button, for it to work, it has to listen. So what happens when I click on the button? What happens when I click on the button? That is what I'm telling it now. So what happens when I click on this button? First, I captured all the information. I captured the name, the email address. There is the name, the email address, the password, and the password. Next thing, now I need to code for the button so that it can listen to me. The moment that I press click, it's supposed to listen to me. It's supposed to listen to me. It's supposed to know that, oh, okay, this guy is doing this, and then this is how I'm supposed to respond. So now, come here. Now let's write the code for that. We know that the event is happening, the click event, hence what we call the event. Event is happening on the form, hence we say form dot, and then add event listener. Add event listener because it is an event listener. That click is an event listener. So now we're telling the computer that once I click, listen to this. Hence what we call the event listener. Now, what button am I supposed to do? That button here that's called submit. I think I called it submit. Ne? Called it submit, I remember. Yes, there we go. The type is submit there. So that is the type there. You can change, you can write whatever that you want. So the event there is submit, and then submit, comma, and then E now is for like an element, and then equals to forward. So we're telling it now forward whatever that. So listen and push whatever that I'm saying that you should listen to, and then push it where, and then we're going to have something like that, and then e dot prevent default. So just in case something happens and then something fails, and then it is going to be captured by that. So now this part here, Sorry guys. So okay, was I was explaining in this part here that here we're adding a listener event. Then after adding an in listener event, now we say default, prevent default. So what we're simply saying here, we're telling JS JavaScript here that okay, if ever that you click on the button, if ever that you click on the button and the button doesn't do what it's supposed to do, do not refresh the page. That's what is simple mean in simplest terms there. Do not refresh the page. Like refreshing the page means deleting the data that you have. Do not do that. Do not do that. That's what we're simply telling there. So it cancels that event. The event of reverting to the default if ever there is something that is wrong. All right. So now we've gotten all this stuff. So technically, we almost done. If you had a database now, you can literally write into a database, because this basically, I think, for now, this was done. It was everything. So now, but next thing that's left here is us to do validation. Now we need to do validation. So now for us to do validation hence I say that this is where a lot of our work is. This is where a lot of our work is. So we need to do that validation now, so that just in case something happens, if let's say the email doesn't match or the passwords they don't match, what do we do? Excuse me. What do we do? So I'll start there. Now I'll start by validating the inputs. Validate inputs. That's what we're doing. We're validating the inputs there. Open, close there, and we can start with this part here. Okay, there's something that I did wrong here. I'm checking. Oh, yeah, because validating input is inside, because I need to validate inputs inside of the inputs have to be validated inside of event listener, this event listener there. So just in case, if since I have stopped it from resetting to default and then validate inputs. Okay, let's check what happens now. That's my email address, and then dust might, even if it doesn't match, really, it doesn't really matter for now because I'm not validating now. Click on register. See, still leads me somewhere because, as I say, that here at this time here, our JS is simply written to do one thing. Like our button is linked to just go to the root. That is what the button does. It behaves by going to the root. But what you say, notice here, my information doesn't go much anywhere because of that, except for the passwords that have to be refreshed. But the rest of the information is not refreshed. That's the whole point. So I'm supposed to refresh the information that is there. But anyway, now let's go here. And then now we can start coding for the other things. Like for instance, let's code for the errors and the validations there. So now for the errors here, so just in case something happens, now we need to set error. Set error. Code set error there, which is equals to, this is validation. And you need to learn how to validate. This is one thing that's very important. Message. And then this here is always, there is always arrows now in JS. In JS, arrows are simple, basically pointers that say, okay, from here, go there. And then from there, so which means from setting an error, and then there is to be an element and there is to be a message. And then now what error, what element am I supposed to use and what message am I supposed to write? So that is what you that is what this thing is saying there. So now this here is okay, const input control control. So now we're telling it that okay, on the input control, this is the element that you are using, the element which is an input control dot parent element. There's a lot, guys, here that goes on, especially when you have to deal with JavaScript here. There's a lot that goes on, and there's a lot of reading that you guys need to before you can literally say, okay, I've got this under wraps now, but there's a lot that you guys need to learn. I want to check here. There's a certain book that I have. Let me see if I actually do have that particular here. Just 1 second before I go forward. Books, and then JavaScript. Oh, interesting. I don't have JS here. Okay, I think I'll get JS, and then I'll get MySQL for you guys, and then I'll get this is just Java straight up, and then this is Python, this is React, and then this is React Native, React.js, which is basically JavaScript but for React. And then this is one that you use. This one is being used by Facebook a lot, but this is one that you guys have to learn sometime. So yeah, I'll get that textbook for JS. So the error here, error display. So we're telling it here to display a certain error. Error display there, which is equals to input control, because that is what we're dealing with. Input control. So because the error from the input control, and then dot, notice they love this. Query selector. So you're telling it the query selector select this, then dot error. All right. So okay, like that, and then now let's tell it what to display. And now let's tell you how to display. So error display. Error display. Dot inner text. Inner text, there is inner text there. Is equals to message. Okay, then saying like, okay, error display something if there's an error, and then make it an inner text, and then supposed to have a message. So what message there? Because here we're not saying that the message is supposed to be this. We do not know what the message is for now. So whether it can be what you call, it can be a success or an error. So hence we need to do that. So we need to add these two messages there. So the first message is success, and then the second message is going to be an error. So an error, remove it. If it's success, add it. And so we'll come and then we remove. And then here, and then we just tell it that you have an error. Okay. Am I right? No, actually it's the other way around. So yeah, input class list dot add or add errors and remove successes. So other way around. But so now, guys, besides this part that we have here, besides the validation, but do you get this first part? Because the first part is the most important right now. So for you guys to understand how to capture information from JavaScript, from what you call from a form using JavaScript, and then to make the button respond. The button has to respond, so you're making the button respond here. So you're capturing the form from the information from the form, and then you're making the button respond by validating these inputs there. Notice this here is a method that is called validating inputs. It's a method that was called, and that is going to be used sometime later. That is the thing there. So yeah, of which that method you're going to have to write it sometime later. But now here in this part here, it's just validation. You are just preparing for validation, of which I'm pretty sure you guys have a clue what we're talking about when we're talking about validation. So validation is just you checking if your information matches up or not. But yeah. So far, any questions? Hey guys, Kwatsula, speak. What's up, Wesley? There's so much noise by you, I can't hear anything. Yeah, I'm saying your mic has a lot of noise.
Mr. TC. Mr. TC.
I'm here, Wesley. I can hear you.
Sir, the video will it be uploaded? The one that you walk us through today.
Yeah. Mr. Sponilo always uploads the videos, so he's gonna upload the video.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah. All right.
So I was saying, could you go like to your coding there? I wanna ask something. Is like okay on the consent form document what and like your third line to line 7, sir. Could we do that for our navigation panel, sir?
For a navigation panel, you want to capture
Yes.
information from navigation panel?
Like say when you click on my navigation panel, like
No.
oh, so
Your navigation,
it doesn't.
navigation panel is HTML. HTML makes the navigation panel move from one place to another. You just have to make use of references and anchors for you to be able to move. For instance, if you've got 3 pages, you're supposed to have a references, href. Href is the one that helps you to be able to move from in between pages that you have. For instance, if I click on home, it's supposed to open the home page. If I click on contact, it's supposed to open the contacts page. That is referencing. It has nothing to do with JavaScript.
Okay, now thank you, sir.
Okay. All right. Do you have any other questions, guys?
No, sir.
Oh, so you guys are like super fine now.
No, sir, we just need to practice. We just need to watch the videos again and then practice.
Busi, suggestion. Suggestion, eh?
Yes, sir.
Try to read the books or whatever material that you can get on JavaScript, which is like, it's not a lot really. It's not a lot. JavaScript doesn't have a lot of things. And then after you read that information, let me
Yes,
see.
sir.
Yeah. And then from there, and then after you've got sort of a basis understanding, especially about the libraries and things that are associated with JavaScript, then it's actually easier for you to understand, like, oh, okay, if I need to do this, then I can. Yes, that's why one thing that you have to refer to, like,
All right, sir. Thank you.
okay. So we always have to refer to what you call, we always have to refer to documentation every time whenever we code.
All right, sir.
Yeah.
I will definitely do that over the weekend.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Okay.
Just send us, please. Can you send us the documents that you have yourself?
Okay, I'll do that.
But so far, we understand what you're saying, but then we don't know those names and all this.
All right, now I get you. I get you, Tshepo. Matome?
So at the moment, you should just do research on JavaScript. You shouldn't try to
But
code.
at least we have the basics. We know the basics of coding. Just that we are getting into that now.
Yeah. So yeah, it's always like that. So you're just gonna take it like you'll be fine. Just now.
Sir,
Yes, ma'am.
it's Nomfundo.
Hi,
So I can't
Nomfundo.
raise my hand. I have a problem. I don't know what's going on with my teams. There is GIS and then there's GS because I don't know if I had a tough week, but I think I had GIS somewhere during this week. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I
Is
had
what?
some
What?
GIS, GIS and GS.
Okay.
Oh, you
We
never
deal
mentioned
with
it.
JS.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Also, that you did a complex coding yesterday, and it's not the same because this one I see it's familiar for us. Yesterday's code, it's a different thing.
Which one was that?
So yesterday we were coding, remember?
Uh-huh.
And then today we started a new one. I understand that it's a register form, but yesterday's coding, or the one that you did on the previous days, it was a bit complex. I even commented, I think, to say it's complex, but it needs us to put pressure on it, like to apply pressure. Today's one is familiar, if I have to say so, because we come from HTML, you see. So I don't know if it's gonna get complex or are we going that route. Like I just want you to, tell us and so that we stay prepared. Because yesterday's ones or the previous day's coding that you did with us was a bit complex.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, now we finally arrived on level 5. Because today I think we can adjust there and there with practice, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because the thing is it takes time for you to understand this
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, but
And
you'll be fine in no time though.
yes, sir.
Yeah.
So after here, there's something else we're going to create, like that's going to connect to the register form.
Yeah, like okay, like for now what you guys have is a basic structure on how to design a form, which is the HTML part, and then there's also the second element that you're doing, which is how to capture information, which is what this is what we're doing, which is this part
So we
here.
are going to put data.
And then from there, and then the next part here that I'm dealing with is validation. So this is the validation that we'll be dealing with. I think we'll deal with this from Monday because there's a lot going on here, of which for you guys, I think it will be a little bit too much if I come and teach this to you now. So yeah, so there is this part here, like not just this part. There is a heck lot of other code that's gonna come through. So that we're going to deal with, especially that has to do with validation. And after validation also, and then there is something that's going to be you capturing the information from the form and storing them in a database, still using JavaScript.
Noted, sir. Clear.
Okay. Busi, you wanted to say something?
Also, I just wanted to ask if we are going to be given an assignment to create something and then do presentations again, just like we did with the whole website thing.
Yeah,
All right. Thank
Yeah.
you.
I'm gonna give you an assignment to create a form
All right.
that makes use of JavaScript.
All right, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
Just not now, sir. You are not ready.
Yeah, you'll be fine, my man. Okay. No other question.
Nope, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. What does this thing say? We've been on for 1 hour, 6 minutes.
It's 1 hour 46.
Oh, okay. Mine says 1 hour, 6 minutes.
It reflects 46 on my side.
Oh, okay. All right. So I think I should stop here, right?
No problem, sir. We just need you to do another example with us after this one. I think after the next example, we'll be like
Okay.
pretty ready.
All right. There's a book that I'm trying to download, JavaScript jQuery interactive front end development. What that I want to put in for you guys, and then I'm going to then I'm going to send it to you, especially on JavaScript, because I think this is the most important. These are the most important books that we need. And then we're just gonna do that. So yeah, if there is no further questions, I think we can stop here, and then we will continue on Monday. And then on Monday, I just want to finish up that last part of our code, especially the validation code. I just want to finish up the validation code here. So we finish up the validation code so that you guys can understand how some of these elements work, and then you get to understand what a query selector is, what a parent per element is, things like that, what a class list is, what we mean by all this stuff here, what exactly we mean by all this stuff, then to explain that in detail, then with a little bit of notes in between our code here. And yeah.
Sir,
Yes.
before you leave, remember when you were coding, your register form was not showing, like CSS was not applied when you were running. So what did you do? How did you fix that? Or you showed us something that is already working? Yes.
No, I didn't do anything really. I just went over and I put that dot. So even if I remove this dot, it's supposed to work. Yeah, it's supposed to work. Let me see.
So the hashtag, the problem. I want to know what was the problem. What made it not to run at all?
Because my code wasn't finished yet.
Oh, okay, sir.
Yeah,
okay.
My code wasn't done yet. Remember, at that time I had only coded the top part. I had only coded like the body, the form, and H1. So hence I wasn't done with the buttons, with the inputs, controls, and stuff like that. So I hadn't made these respond the way that they're supposed to. Hence my code, as much as it was there, it wasn't going to work.
Okay, so I can use the dot throughout because the hashtag is giving me something like for the forms. Can I still say dot form?
You mean here?
Go up, yeah. Hashtag form. It should be like that. Hashtag.
Yeah, it should be hash form.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
Fine.
and then dot is for the controls and everything else that we use in HTML, but for the forms,
Oh, it
hash.
doesn't give you any other option. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So, any other question, guys?
What time is the class starting at on Monday?
Same time.
Starting. All right. 2:30.
2 o'clock.
All right, so thank you.
Who's this?
It's Busi, sir.
Oh, yeah, it's starting same time, Busi.
All right, thank you, sir.
Okay, so this is what I was explaining earlier to you guys, that you guys log in at 2. I start between 2:15 and 2:30. Unless if there is a problem, that's when we'll send a message and tell you like, okay, there's a small delay, maybe we'll start at 2:45 or something like that. But otherwise, you guys log in at 2 o'clock, and then by 2:15, everyone is in, and then we start taking. But the thing is, they start taking the register around 2:05. So my suggestion is you log in by around 2:05, and then from there, and then you at least you have an idea on like you have an idea as to what time the class is starting.
All right, thank you, sir.
Okay, Busi. Okay. Okay, guys. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll talk on Monday.
Okay, bye, sir.
Thank you,
Alrighty.
sir.
Thank
Bye.
you, sir.
Okay, guys. Cheers.
Thank you, sir. Bye, everyone.